I'm doing this video to counteract something I read recently written by a Christian, and that was that the greatest sin of Sodom that brought about its destruction was actually the sin of not helping the poor and needy. So I want to look for a minute at what brought about the destruction of Sodom to show this is not the case. In Genesis 18:20-21 we can see there's a conversation between the Lord and Abraham. Then the Lord said, "The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great and their sin so grievous that I will go down and see if what they've done is as bad as the outcry that's reached me. If not, I will know." Now after that the two angels went down to Sodom, and Abraham continued to speak to the Lord. But on arrival they were met by Lot, who strongly urged them to go and stay at his house rather than to spend the night in the open square as they were going to. So he urged them so strongly that they agreed. But now listen to what happened next. Start at verse 4 of Genesis 19. Before they had gone to bed, all the men from every part of the city of Sodom, both young and old, surrounded the house. They called to Lot, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us so we can have sex with them." Lot went outside to meet them and shut the door behind him and said, "No, my friends, don't do this wicked thing. Look, I have two daughters who've never slept with a man. Let me bring them out to you, and you can do what you like with them, but don't do anything to these men, for they've come under the protection of my roof." "Get out of our way," they replied, and they said, "This fellow came here as an alien, now he wants to play the judge. We'll treat you worse than them." They kept bringing pressure on Lot and moved forward to break down the door, but the men inside reached out and pulled Lot back into the house and shut the door. Then they struck the men who were at the door of the house, young and old, with blindness, so they could not find the door. The two men said to Lot, "Do you have anyone else here, sons-in-law, sons or daughters, or anyone else in the city who belongs to you? Get them out of here, because we're going to destroy this place. The outcry to the Lord against its people is so great that he sent us here to destroy it." You see, the angels had gone down to Sodom because of the outcry against it, and following this incident came a pronouncement of judgment. They'd seen enough. Now I read something written by this Christian who used Ezekiel 16:49 as a basis to say that the sin of Sodom was not helping the poor and needy. Ezekiel 16:49 says this, "Now this was the sin of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters were arrogant, overfed and unconcerned. They didn't help the poor and needy." However, there's no mention of the next verse. Verse 50 says, "They were haughty and they did detestable things before me. Therefore I did away with them, as you have seen." You see, they did detestable things. That is not mentioned in the argument that the main sin of Sodom was not helping the poor and needy. In fact, that argument, what it actually does is diminish the seriousness of homosexuality in God's eyes and lead people in the direction of the social gospel of works, which is about helping the poor and needy. Now, helping people in itself isn't wrong, but when it diminishes the seriousness of sin and the preaching of the true gospel, and it's wrong, because it replaces it with a false gospel, the gospel of works. People trying to earn their right standing with God through doing good works instead of genuinely repenting of their sin. This teaching that homosexuality wasn't the sin of Sodom is wrong. It's teaching in favour of homosexuals, not in favour of God's truth. Homosexuality may not have been the only sin of Sodom and Gomorrah, but it's what the angels saw evidence of prior to pronouncing judgment on it. They had come because of the outcry and seen it firsthand. After this incident at Lot's house, read Genesis 19, they'd seen enough. If you read Jude 7, that will confirm this.